and it's getting worse according to the Alzheimer's Association. By 2050, it's going to triple, they think. That's so terrible. And it's even more depressing because Alzheimer's Association and others says there's really no cure, right? So I found a study. I'm not going to be real scientific here, but I found a study from the Alzheimer's and Dementia Journal of Alzheimer's Association, and basically they did a lot of research and they found out, even though there's not a cure, there are some things we can do to modify the risk factors. In other words, we want to lower the risk factors for cognitive decline and dementia. And here's what they found. Here's what they decided. In the absence of a disease-modifying treatment or cure, there isn't one. In other words, there aren't good medicines, there isn't surgery, there isn't medical stuff we can do. In the absence of that, what do we want to do? We want to reduce the risk of developing dementia on the front end, okay? That takes on added importance. So I found this cool little chart, and this is about as technical as we're going to get. Cognitive decline is, mental decline, bad. We don't want it. The blue arrows are the ones that we should just look at. Can you see it okay? Where it says, this is where they found strong evidence of things that increase risk for cognitive decline and things that decrease risk. And so the increased risk, let's look at that in the red, pinkish. Traumatic brain injury. Here's one thing I just want to mention that sometimes we can't help it. Sometimes we get knocked on the head, we fall off a horse or something, or we get in a car wreck or a plane crash or something. We bump our head and it can't be helped. That is a significant risk of later cognitive decline. We have to make the most of it, trust to God's sovereignty. But here's some other things we can help. Midlife obesity, midlife hypertension, high blood pressure, smoking, and diabetes. Other things, a little less evidence, history of depression, sleep disturbances, and they don't know about hyperlipidemia, cholesterol. And the things we can do to help the risk go down, they find that more years of formal education decreases risk of cognitive decline. And I say, I don't care how many years of formal education you have, but you keep learning. We are keeping learning in here. Keep learning, keep using your brain. And physical activity greatly decreases cognitive decline. Diet too, yes, do you know what the Mediterranean diet basically is? Not too much red meat, a lot of fish, vegetables, olive oil, good fats, stuff like that. Okay, so fruits and nuts. Now, this could be the really bad news or the really good news, and the really good news. They find that brain troubles can start 15 to 40 years before the diagnosis. So how old were you 40 years ago? Some of you weren't on the planet. So that's but that gives us a lot of time to do something, right? So this is really encouraging. And still with the study, the science, the evidence shows us that lifestyle factors, they came up with 4 lifestyle factors. Regular physical activity, not so surprising. The more we exercise, we get more blood flowing to the brain, we get more oxygen to the brain, that's all a good thing. Manage cardiovascular risk factors, the usual that we're always talking about, diabetes, obesity, smoking, and hypertension. Eat a good diet and good fats. Okay, a very easy way to think about good fats and bad fats. Good fats. What did your grandmothers and great-grandmothers eat for fat? They used butter, right? Not margarine. If we manufacture it in the last 100 years, it's suspect. So what did grandmothers put on their apple cobbler? Real whipped cream. Cool Whip is not even a food, for example. We don't want to eat that kind of fat. So think about that. Olive oil been used for centuries. Coconut oil been used for centuries. But these weird oils that we get, vegetable oils and weird things and canola oils and things that are pressed out of cottonseed oil, are you kidding? So, think about good fats. That's all I'm going to say about that, but most of us may need an oil change. So when you're eating something, think about what you're eating. What kind of fats are in that thing? Good or bad? Good or bad for me? And then here's the lifelong learning again. So, one more statement from the study from the Alzheimer's Association. The public should know what science concludes. Certain healthy behaviors known to be effective for diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer are also good for brain health and for reducing the risk of cognitive decline. It's starting to sound a little familiar, don't you think? It's starting to sound real familiar. That's what we're talking about all the time. And we're working on it. And so the cool thing is, I just want to know how many of you in here know that your brain is attached to the rest of your body? I don't see every hand. We got somebody who's listening. So, maybe the takeaway that you can write in your little notes is what's good for the body is good for the brain, right? So this is going to be sort of easy. So we're done with the technical, maybe this is not a technical thing. I just put this up there because what kind of brain problems are we talking about? We're not just talking about dementia and Alzheimer's. That's the end of life. We're talking about things from the beginning of life through childhood, through young adulthood, and there's a whole bunch of them. And I bet I'm sure we all know people who have one or more of these problems, and probably even ourselves. So, I am going to tell you my story, because it really ties in with this. And this is where I got to stick to my notes, you guys, so just forgive me if I look. So, hey, guess where that was? Not very long ago. How exciting. So, I'm well now, but most of my adult life, I did not even know what wellness felt like. I'm a nurse, y'all. I did not know what it was like to be well, and I didn't miss work. I never felt great. So starting in my early 20s, right after I graduated from nursing school, I joined the Navy. I started having all kinds of immune problems, infections, allergies, headaches, hormonal problems. After I married Lee, in 1977, we had 2 boys. They were sick too. And after our second son was born, I got postpartum depression that lasted for a year. And I didn't even know I was depressed most of the time. I'm a nurse. I don't even realize that I'm sitting on the kitchen floor crying, and I don't acknowledge that I'm depressed. I didn't realize it till I was coming out of it. I mean, that is sort of weird, I think, to be that unaware of what's going on in me. For a little while, I got better. We took some good supplements. Sure wish I'd known about Neolife, but I didn't. Took some Shaklee supplements. And I got better. Thankfully for Stephanie, who's our daughter right there sitting next to Lee. You're going to hear from her next, and her talk will tie right in with mine. Thankfully for her, I was taking these good supplements while I was pregnant with her, and afterwards nursing her. And compared to the boys, that I took the standard 1-a-day nasty prenatal that makes you nauseated for 9 months. Stephanie, I felt great during that pregnancy, and she has been the healthiest by far. Am I right? So, as long as, I don't know why I quit taking them. I don't know. I can't even remember why I don't take them, but that's a different story. So we were in a few car crashes, 5 to be particular. Oh yeah, I'll have to say this. I was in 5. It's much safer to ride in a plane than a car. So I've been in 5 car crashes, only 1 plane crash.
Right.
And so I got whiplash, not from the plane crash, but the car crashes. You can ask me about that. If you want to know, it was in a little missionary airplane in Ecuador, and we just landed in the trees, but it really was a plane crash. So anyway, that's another essential story. So whiplash, I had headaches every day for years, I had sinus problems, digestive problems, hormonal problems, I had arthritis that started in my 30s, and I thought, figures, my grandmother's had arthritis, why wouldn't I? And so I had 24 of the 48 symptoms of fibromyalgia, which included chronic fatigue and pain, many of my muscles and joints, I had recurring tendon problems for which I wore all kind of braces. It was kind of ridiculous. I have a drawer full of braces, ankle braces, knee braces, back braces, wrist braces. I had carpal tunnel. I had a thing with a tennis elbow. It was ridiculous. I looked like a mummy. And then, Stephanie and Lee will attest to this, I was moody and cranky occasionally. Most of the time. And I made our family kind of miserable. So by the time I was 49, I was really sick and depressed. I was still dragging myself to work, but the worst thing was my mind was going. And my concentration and my memory were really getting so poor I was afraid that I was getting early onset Alzheimer's. And that was after 30 years of trying to be healthy with various diets and lots of herbs and supplements and whatever I could find. So I was really scared. And then, where's Josh? Where are you? There you are. Then we met Josh and Chelsea. First we met Josh.
In the 70s?
He didn't look like this at the time.
You see it there.
And we weren't having nearly as much fun back then as we were having over there. Do y'all recognize that was that was our? You can see we're celebrating our 60s theme, 60 years with Neolife, and we were celebrating peace, love, and we were celebrating with our great team, most of who are here today. So that was a blast. And back to the story. So we met Josh at a homeschool expo where he had a booth with Jim Coyle. I did not want to stop and hear about vitamins. Are you kidding me? You know, I was like pulling on Lee's shirt. Quickly, let's walk on by. That nice smiling young man, he was 22 at the time. But Lee said, no, I want to stop and see if he's got anything for my mom's immune system because she just told us she had pancreatic cancer, so we stopped and listened. And he told us all about carotenoid complex, phytodefense, lots of stuff. And after an hour, we signed up just to get the discount so we could get her a bunch of stuff, which helped her greatly. That's another story. We weren't as interested in MLM. We'd already tried 12 of them with varying degrees of success and some pretty embarrassing failures. That was the laundry list, y'all, if anybody knows about that. Well, anyway, that was 2001. And it's a much longer story. But this is what I want to show you. Some of you have asked, what do y'all take? Well, this is what I started on. After Lee's mom had some really good results, I said, well, I'm going to try it too. So I got the Formula 4 Plus. We didn't have the Pro Vitality in 2001. And I also started on the digestive products. You can see the acidophilus, the enzymes, and the beta-just. Because Lawrence told me, if you got digestive problems, you got to fix that first. Well, I put a lot of good nutrients down into a system that can't even digest and assimilate them. So I did that for 4 months. I was still taking a bunch of my old stuff, you know, I didn't want to waste it and all that. So
for the new people, Susan,
yes,
Formula 4 Plus is in Pro Vitality.
Thank you for the, yes, you can see those. I keep the little packet to the front. We didn't have Pro Vitality, but you see the Trianin and a multivitamin in that little packet. And just for the record, it doesn't have any iron. That I just took that because that's what we had. So today, we know there are lots of other causes of brain problems. Digestive issues. I had them really bad. Sleep problems, terrible. I worked a night shift for 20 years and I was flipping back and forth. It was awful, but is what worked for homeschooling stuff. Weak immune systems. Oh my goodness, we could talk for a long time. Infections. A lot of brain problems turn out to be either a virus, a bacteria got in there, herpes, something, or other parasites. So then those critters, they're alive in there, they give off wastes which become toxins to us. And all kind of toxins are culprits in brain problems. Heavy metals, you got mercury in your teeth and all that stuff. Chemicals in our environment, there's no end to them, and including EMFs, the electromagnetic frequencies. We're not going to talk about that today, but it could be a factor. So let me just say the obvious. If you figure out a root cause of a problem, we fix the root cause, don't we? We don't just put a Band-Aid on the symptom. Come on. So as I started doing that, getting to the root of the problems, with just the Formula 4 Plus and the digestive, I started sleeping a little better, having a little more energy, enough to be encouraged to stick with it. And people don't let anybody think they're gonna get well overnight if they've been sick for 30 years. At least say, give it 3 months, 4 months, give it a year. Let's be realistic. Okay, so this is stuff that's working to help our body fix it. It's gonna take a while. The Trianen works all over the place. Okay, 4 months, I was feeling better. And Josh kept following up with us, that little call once a month. How you doing? Yeah, feeling a little better. Well, he said, well, you could take a little more. Take maybe more Trianen, get a bottle, and add that couple more Trianen to the one in the packet. You might want to build your immune system. It was getting on in fall and winter, so we started taking 3-carotenoid complex. And then I started taking the 3-Seminole. I still had a lot of pain. I had headaches. And guess what? After 4 months on all of that, my pain started going away. I was getting, I also added what used to be called Active 40 and the Prime Pack. Now, Pro Vitality is fabulous for people who are young and well. When you're really sick, you just need more. And this is the more vitamins, more minerals, lecithin is in there for your brain. So it's called the Prime Pack now, and you can add that to the Pro Vitality Pack and you can get more. Well, so after about 8 months, Seminole, all this stuff, like joint pain, muscle pain was clearing up, had a rare headache, only rarely, had lots more energy, and the best thing, I believed I was going to be well for the first time in decades. When I learned about mind enhancement and feminine herbal, I added these two. None of these work overnight either. So, but in about a month, they start to kick in. You start feeling some benefits. The main reason I love the feminine herbal is for the St. John's wort in there, which is a herbal antidepressant. I still take it today. And the mind enhancement is well labeled. It does what it says. It enhances our mind and our memory. And I take that too. There's ginkgo biloba in there and a few other things. And I really, really wish I'd known, I wish I'd known about those, our cleaners, way back when. We want to live in, we want to do everything we can to live in a less toxic environment. And these go a long way. Save you a lot of money too. Wish we had time to talk about all that. Of course we don't, but if you don't already have this is all we have, 4 cleaners, y'all. Super 10, LDC, green, and the laundry. You should put that into your next order. Okay, so here's Lee and me with Chris Cameron a few years ago. We just finished our first 5K race. I never knew I could run. And I also asked my doctor if hiking was right for me. You know how they say with the drugs. I didn't really ask him if it was. So we just started hiking on our own. If you can read it, it tells the possible side effects of hiking, which can include weight loss, stress reduction, uncontrolled feelings of euphoria. It's really cute. So the more meal, so we started hiking on our own. The more meal life we took, the better we felt, and the younger we got. Everybody says so. Stephanie just quit aging at about age when she started. So we began to have all sorts of wonderful adventures because in order to take the products I wanted and needed, we wanted and needed for our family, we had to build a Neolife business. And Josh never gave up on following up on us. So after about 2 years, he called. We agreed to let him come on over from Atlanta to Columbia, South Carolina and do a meeting. And I invited, I don't know how many people I invited, but only 5 came. But guess what? They all 5 signed up. And that was the beginning. And we got to director in only 3 months. And it's a good thing. We wanted more products and we really wanted that. And you know that's about maybe the most expensive thing of all, the phytonutrients. But if you were listening to John Miller, you know each packet does so many things to protect our brains and our bodies as it boosts our immune system. And Lee and I always take at least 1 packet a day. I always remember Bob Pearson's story about how he got undepressed from taking only 6 Seminole and 5 B vitamins. And does he ever look like he was depressed in his whole life? No. So I get my extra B vitamins from the Sport Pack because that's my favorite. And then, oh yeah, we had some more. The better we felt, the bigger our, and the harder we worked on the business, it grew. We had some more adventures. We got to go to the top of the world. And there we are with Jody and Elizabeth. Stephanie's there with us, her husband, and old friend Chris is there. That was at a couple years ago in Las Vegas, right? So more things I take. A couple of E's, 4 super C's. We know from some studies These help brain and tons of other stuff. And so we don't have time to talk about that. Of course, I didn't even put a picture of protein CalMag on there and lots more stuff, but we have more adventures.
So that was a fun one.
And and you may recognize some of us, or you might not. But this is at the 2016 convention in Anaheim. And yes, that is Prince Charming with me. And
They were
Elsa.
so cute.
And the only time I ever wear false eyelashes, and I ever will wear false eyelashes.
When does the convention
I
tickets
can't
go
believe
up?
I put them on myself.
They already did.
I do.
They already
I take Betagard 3 a day because I want a constant flow of environmental toxins out of
It'll go up
me.
again, so you have to
And,
do it sooner than later.
1 to 2 lecithin a day for brain and liver support. And as new products come out, we take them all. Full motion, why would we not want to fight against the wear and tear arthritis of aging? We just take it, and the 3 anti-inflammatory herbs in the full motion, we need all the anti-inflammation we can get. And then these are the newest products, and these are some of my favorite products. And they're all highly important for brain health and much more. Of course, we take them all, and I recommend them all to you too. If you don't have enough money, you better build a bigger business. And as for the glucose balance, some of you have already heard that Alzheimer's is now being called type 3
Diabetes.
because it's up and down, up and down, up and down of all the blood sugar. When it's high, it's damaging your brain. When it's low, it's starving your brain. It's killing brain cells. And the glucose balance can help you get off that glycemic roller coaster. And along with making good food and drink choices, that glucose balance can help a lot. The CoQ10 is probably one of my favorite, but I love the magnesium too. But the CoQ10 is super important for brain health. Brain health, heart health, all kind of energy, cellular energy. Okay, and last, but not least, ta-da, wasn't that great what John had to say about Trey? So if everybody doesn't have Trey on their order, I'll be shocked. I know you just all want to
I've
take
already,
it.
it's on my list.
And you will find Trey, I just want to encourage you to use the tools, y'all. In our catalog on pages 24 and 25, it's the products for a sharper mind. Trey's on there with a basic brain products. Lecithin, Mind Enhancement, and Saludol, all good places to start. And as an added motivation for Lee and me to build new life and take as much as we needed, is to be there for our wonderful family. This was just a couple of months ago, and not to be a burden. I've changed diapers of all 3 of our kids and all 3 of our grandkids, but I do not want to end up like this, so they have to change my diaper. You know what I mean? Think about why you're doing this thing. The choice is yours, the choice is ours, mostly leaving room for the hand of God. And if something happens, if you get a bump on the head, we get in a car crash, plane crash, we make the best of it, and we trust God. So, like these friends of ours, I want to be like them. Right after convention, Lee and I went down to the Grand Canyon. We got on a raft. We went 110 miles down the Colorado River on a raft through the rapids. And these friends of ours, we met at church. We didn't know him very well, but he's 80 and she's like 78 or 79. They went with us. Their kids thought they were nuts. But they did it. I don't know what they believed, but but that was a blast. Lee and I are making daily choices towards healthy brains, healthy bodies. And we hope you all will too.
Here.
Woo!